Hey YouTubers, I'm about to teach you how to make my classic macaroni and cheese in a crock pot, and I'm just showing you some of the ingredients that I use when I'm making my crock pot macaroni and cheese. I use the original Velveeta cheese. As you see, it's pre-sliced, sharp cheddar cheese that's already shredded in a bag, as well as 2 eggs, salt and pepper, Philadelphia cream cheese, also mozzarella cheese that's already pre-shredded in a bag, my elbow noodles that we're going to be using. I use a touch of mustard in there just to give it a little tang, and then also I use the whipping cream. So these are all the ingredients that I place into my crock pot macaroni and cheese. So stay tuned, and we're going to start boiling our noodles. I started making macaroni and cheese like this, like when I didn't have time to really like stand in the kitchen over the stove and put the food in the oven. So I started actually making macaroni and cheese in the crock pot, and it was like such a big help for me, again, because I didn't have to stand over the stove and wait on it to cook in the oven. I just throw all my ingredients into the crock pot and I just let it go. Okay, so now that we have the noodles in the pot boiling on high, I just add a little bit of oil in there, cooking oil to mine, just to make sure that the noodles are not going to stick together while boiling. And I've already added the salt, pre-added the salt into the water. So you just want to give it a nice stir and make sure the noodles are not sticking at the bottom of the pan. We're going to make sure that the noodles, once they get done, we'll drain that hot water off of there, and then we'll head on over here to the crock pot and go from there. Okay, so everything is in the crock pot as far as the noodles. I place the noodles in there, and what I normally do is I go in and I go ahead and put the salt and pepper in there before I start placing my cheese. So we're going to start adding the cheeses over into the crock pot. And just stir that in there. That's the Philadelphia cream cheese, and let that start melting. And when I drain the noodles, I don't take all of the water out of the pan. I leave some of that water in there. And that'll just help with the melting process for the cheeses. Here's your Velveeta. Go hand that in there. And again, you want to stir that in. That'll start to melt. And what I do is I have like a pound of sharp cheddar cheese, and I'll put like half of that into the noodles and save the other half to top off the macaroni and cheese at the end. Stir that over as well into the noodles. And you'll see how it starts to melt. Then I have some mozzarella cheese. Gonna put that inside there. And I just place that whole bag. And that's just an 8-ounce bag of mozzarella cheese by Kraft. Go ahead and stir that in. Yes, look at that. Oh yeah. Now this is the whipping cream, and I just get the whipping cream from Walmart. Heavy whipping cream, of course. You're gonna pour that over into your crock pot, just like so. Stir. And you'll see as it starts to cook, it'll start to come together. Just like when you put it inside of the oven. Look at that cheese. Okay. And then your eggs. Okay, so I placed the 2 eggs inside of the crock pot with the cheese, all my cheeses, as well as the creamer. And you're gonna stir. We're going to add a little mustard in there. And it'll give it a nice little tang. You can't really taste that mustard, so don't worry. Just make sure you stir it into there. Look at that cheese. We're going to take the rest of our sharp cheddar cheese and you're going to sprinkle it on top, all over. Just make sure it goes on top. And I just like to cover my spaces in there. Okay, that's all done. Then we're going to place the lid on it. And I have a little pressure cooker crock pot, so place the lid on just like that. And then I have a timer, and I normally set my timer for like an hour and 15 minutes, so a good hour and 15 minutes to 2 hours. It's up to you. But it'll create a brown crust inside of the pan from the cheese. Uh-oh. So a good hour and 30 minutes. I'm gonna let it cook, and then we'll be back to show you exactly what it looks like once it's done. And I mean, it comes out so good. Alright, YouTubers, you can see, if you look around the very edges, you'll see where it's cooking inside the crock pot and firming up. So we're almost to the end, and what I do is I just get the fork and go in just to test to see how firm it has become. I'll go down in the middle, like you'll see the noodles where it's starting to firm. And you just don't let it cook. You just sit it inside the crock pot and just let it do its thing. And you can see there, you see that? Where it's starting to firm up and come together. Ooh, looks good. So the next time I show you, we should be done. But what you want to do is just let it cook and firm up. Just let it cook so it can firm up. So you'll see where I scattered cheese, a sharp cheddar cheese on there, and you'll see that it starts to fall down in, especially when you go in, just to make sure it's coming together nicely for you. Alright, so the next time we should be done. Good and done. Done and good, good, good. Alright, YouTubers, as you can see, that macaroni and cheese is starting to firm up nicely. So just take a look. Again, I told you I always check my size, and you can tell that it's starting to get firm. You see where it was, you had a lot of liquid there, not so much now. And if I go on the sides of this, let me just show you while it's still in the pan, and I can flip it over, you'll see where it has the nice brown under there. It turns it nice and crunchy up under there. So that's the reason why I like to go in and clear the sides and make sure that liquid is getting down in there. You can see it's as I peel it away on the side. Oh my gosh, look at this. Let me just pull this up for you to show you what it looks like. Same thing. If you were to put it in the oven and cook it, the only difference is you get a lot of crunch from under the bottom, right there on the sides, because you're looking at this ceramic is going to cook it nice and even all the way around in your crock pot, all the way in there. And it's going to come out with a lot of the crunch right there, which a lot of us love to eat, right? And do it again. I pull the sides away and look at there. Same thing again. You see where it's nice and brown under there. So you're looking at a finished product. I'm gonna put some on a plate so you can see what it looks like, but you can allow it to cook if you want to a little more. But what I normally do is once it gets to this point here, you can see there where it's cooked, that cheese is nice and brown even on the sides of the crock pot here. But what I like to do once it gets like this, I like to turn it down on low so it doesn't overcook the noodles, and just let it firm up some more, cool down, and start to firm up a lot more. But let's put some on a plate so we can see what it looks like. Alright, so we're going to put some of this on the plate. As you can see, I got a little plate here so we can test it. Look at that. This is Crockpot macaroni and cheese. Look at there. Look at that. We're gonna grab some more out of there. And that's from the sides and under the bottom that you can't see when it starts to cook and firm up. Look how nice that is. Crockpot macaroni and cheese, you guys. Still have the cheese there. Really nice. Alright, there you have it. Tanya's Crockpot macaroni and cheese.